أهلا بيكم. النهاردة هنغوص شوية في عالم تشارلز ديكنز، وتحديدا الفصل ال17 من رواية امال عظيمة.
فصل مهم جدا في رحلة بيب.
معانا مقتطفات منه، وهدفنا نفهم أكتر الصراع النفسي اللي عايشه بيب، علاقته ببيدي اللي بتتطور، وإحساسه الدائم ده بعدم الرضا حتى مع إن حياته شكلها بيتغير.
هو التوتر ده هو مفتاح الفصل كله، يعني الصراع بين طموحاته الجديدة وحياته اللي هو شايفها قليلة عليه.
البداية دايما من عند بيت الأنسهاب هشام، الزيارة السنوية دي،
المكان اللي الزمن فيه واقف، الساعات الواقفة دي رمز لكل حاجة مجمدة هناك، وده عكس حياة بيب نفسها اللي يعني بيحصل فيها تغييرات بسيطة بره.
تغييرات بسيطة لكن هو حاسسها؟ ولا الزيارة السنوية دي والجنيه الذهب اللي بياخده كل مرة بيخلوه يحس إن مفيش حاجة بتتغير بجد، وإن حياته كصبي حداد دي شيء يعني مخجل؟
أكيد الزيارة دي ليها تأثير سلبي جدا. عالم الأنسهافشم وأستيلا ده سمم نظرته لنفسه ولحياته البسيطة، بقى شايفها معيوبة. بس الغريبة بقى، أو يمكن مش غريبة قوي، إنه وسط إحساسه بالإحباط ده بيبدأ يشوف شخص تاني خالص في بيدي.
بيدي إزاي؟
يعني مش بس إن شكلها اتحسن وبقت بنت أنظف وأشيك شوية وكده، الأهم إنه بدأ يدرك قد إيه هي ذكية، هادية كده وبتفهم بعمق. النص حتى بيوصف عينيها إنها مفكرة ومنتبهة بشكل غريب.
ودي كانت مفاجأة بالنسبة له، صح؟ حتة إنها بتتعلم كل اللي هو بيتعلمه.
بالظبط، ويمكن أكتر كمان، ومن غير ما يبان عليها أي مجهود، لدرجة إنها فاهمة في شغلانة الحدادة نظريا زيه أو أحسن.
ولما قالت له بهدوء كده إنها كانت أول واحدة علمته أصلا، دي لحظة أكيد كانت صعبة عليه.
صعبة جدا، كأنها حطت مراية قدامه، افتكر قد إيه هي تعبت في حياتها، وهو يمكن يعني النص بيقولها صراحة، ربما لم أكن ممتنا لبدي بما فيه الكفاية.
الإحساس بالذنب ده هو اللي خلاه يفتح قلبه ليها في المشهد بتاع المستنقعات.
أعتقد اللحظة دي فتحت سكة للمصارحة، لما أخدها يتمشوا وقال لها السر اللي جواه: أنا عايز أبقى جنتلمان.
رد فعل بدي هنا بقى هو اللي يعني مبهر بصراحة.
فعلا مش مجرد رد فعل عادي، ده تحليل لنفسيته تقريبا. هي مش بتسخر منه،
لا خالص،
لكن بتسأله سؤال مباشر ودغري: طب ليه؟ عشان تغيظها ولا عشان تكسب ودها؟ تقصد استيلا طبعا.
وبتقول له بمنتهى البساطة إن الهدف ده يمكن ما يستاهلش، أو إن حياة الجنتلمان دي أصلا مش مناسبة ليه.
بالظبط، كأنها بتقول له فوق لنفسك.
وهو عارف ده في حتة جواه، مش كده؟ اعترافه كان واضح قوي: أنا زهقان من شغلانتي ومن حياتي، وعايز أبقى جنتلمان بسببها هي.
أيوة، وكمان اللحظة اللي بيكلم فيها نفسه ويقول: بيب يالك من أحمق. هو مدرك إن في حاجة غلط. الصراع الداخلي هنا على أشده.
والمقارنة بين بيدي وإستيلا بتبقى واضحة جدا هنا. بيدي هي اللطف، الثبات، الحنية، السعادة الهادية اللي ممكنة،
وإستيلا هي الطموح والبرود والتعاسة اللي شبه مضمونة.
السؤال اللي بيفضل يزن في ودن الواحد: ليه مش قادر يختار الطريق الواضح قدامه ده؟ لدرجة إنه بيقولها بصراحة: يا ريتني أقدر أخلي نفسي أحبك. جملة يائسة قوي.
وردها كان حاسم وواقعي كالعادة: بس انت عمرك ما هتعمل كده، خليك فاكر. عارفة إنه أسير حلمه ده ومش هيقدر يفك منه بسهولة.
فاهماه أكتر ما هو فاهم نفسه.
ممكن جدا فاهمة إنه طموحه اللي مربوط بأستيلا ده أقوى من أي محاولة عقلانية إنه يلاقي سعادة حقيقية معاها هي، وده بيورينا حجم المأزق اللي هو فيه.
وفي وسط كل اللخبطة دي بيظهر كمان أورليك عشان يعقد الدنيا زيادة.
أورليك حضوره دايما مقلق كده وفيه تهديد.
وبيب بيلاحظ اهتمامه الغريب ببيدي، وبيشوفه وهو بيرقص ناحيتها بشكل بيخوفها هي نفسها.
الغيرة اللي بيب حس بيها هنا مش بس غيرة عاطفية، دي غيرة خوف عليها، ممزوجة بالشكوك القديمة بتاعته بخصوص أورليك ودوره في اللي حصل لأخته.
وجود أورليك ده بيضيف بعد تاني من الخطر الحقيقي والملموس، ويأكد إن عالم بيب البسيط ده مليان تهديدات تحت السطح.
كل ده بيخلي بيب عايش في حالة توهان دايمة، يعني تيجي عليه لحظات كده يصفى ويفكر ويقول لنفسه إن بدي وحياة الورشة هم الصح، وهو ده اللي المفروض يرضى بيه. وبعدين تيجي ذكرى صغيرة من بيت هافشام أو كلمة تتقال عن استيلا تروح مطيرة كل الأفكار دي، ويرجع تاني لنقطة الصفر، يرجع يتعلق بأمل ضعيف إن الأنسة هافشام هي اللي هتعمله اللي هو عايزه.
هي دي مأساة بيبي الحقيقية في الفصل ده. عقله بيقوله حاجة، وقلبه وعواطفه اللي متأثرة بإستيلا وهافشام بيقولوا حاجة تانية خالص.
تمام. وده بيورينا قد إيه التأثيرات الخارجية سواء من المجتمع أو من أشخاص معينين ممكن تشوه قدرتنا على إننا نشوف السعادة الحقيقية حتى لو هي قدام عينينا.
الصراع بين الطموح الاجتماعي ده اللي ستيلا وهافشام بيرمزوا له وبين الرضا والسعادة البسيطة الممكنة مع ناس زي جو وبيدي. حكمة بيدي وهدوءها دول عكس سطوة ستيلا وقسوتها تماما.
والسؤال اللي بيفضل معانا بعد الفصل ده، لحد فين ممكن نسمح للتأثيرات دي إنها تشكل حياتنا ورغباتنا حتى لو شايفين إن في سكة تانية ممكن تكون أحسن وأريح نفسيا؟ هل الواحد فعلا يقدر يختار سعادته وهو محاصر بين التوقعات دي والروابط الحقيقية اللي في حياته؟
والفصل بينتهي نهاية فيها غموض بيزود الحيرة دي. بيقول إن فترة تدريبه المهني وصلت لنهاية مبكرة. يا ترى إيه معنى النهاية المبكرة دي؟ وإيه اللي هيحصل لشاب ممزق بالشكل ده؟ ده سؤال نسيبه للمستمع يفكر فيه.
Welcome to the deep dive. So this is where we take the sources you send over.
And really dig in, right?
Exactly. Find those thought-provoking nuggets.
The insights that really stick.
And today we're looking at something pretty interesting excerpts from chapter 17 of For Ajon. Now, okay, it's fiction, but it feels incredibly real. You know, it gets into ambition, social class growing up, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Sometimes fiction just hits harder, doesn't it? It can show you the emotional truth of things, maybe even clearer than nonfiction sometimes.
That's a great way to put it. This chapter really zooms in on a character who's, well, he's at a crossroads.
Definitely.
So our mission, if you like, is to get under the skin of these passages, understand what's changing inside this main character.
The internal conflicts.
Yeah, the push and pull. And crucially, the relationships, especially with Miss Havisham, Miss Stella, and Biddy. They seem key.
They really are. Each represents something different for him.
Okay, so let's start there. Pip's visits to Miss Havisham, these annual things. What's the real weight of those?
Well, the striking thing is how nothing changes. It's not just the house or Miss Havisham herself.
Right.
It's the feeling of it. Time just stopped. And imagine being Pip, going back year after year.
It must mess with your head, surely. Seeing life just frozen.
Exactly. It's like seeing this monument to past pain, refusing to move on. How does that not affect how you see your own future, your own time?
Yeah, it presents this alternative, like you could just stop moving forward because something hurt you. It's heavy.
Definitely.
And the stopped clocks, it's not just decoration, is it? It's a symbol, a really powerful one.
Spot on. A life cut off. And then there's the ritual within that frozen world, the birthday guinea.
Ah, the guinea.
It's more than just weird, isn't it?
It feels like power, control.
Yeah, I think so too. Pip tries to refuse it at first, remember? And Miss Havisham gets furious.
Right, it's not generosity.
Yeah.
It's something else.
A transaction. Maybe her way of keeping some kind of hold on him, on the outside world.
Eventually he just accepts it. It becomes this annual custom. What does that tell us?
Maybe a kind of resignation. Like he's internalizing that some things just are fixed, unchanging.
You can totally see how going from that place back to his normal life.
Makes his normal life feel lacking.
Exactly. His apprenticeship, Joe's forge, his home. It all starts to feel, well, common. Shameful even, in his eyes, compared to the drama of Sada's house.
Which is just a perfect setup for understanding his growing dissatisfaction. And it makes the contrast with Biddy even sharper.
Right, Biddy, who is developing, changing, unlike Miss Havisham.
Yeah, she's presented almost as the anti-Estella, isn't she? The text says, not beautiful she was common, but pleasant and wholesome and sweet-tempered.
It's a very direct comparison, maybe a bit unfair even, judging her against Estella.
Perhaps. But let's look at Biddy on her own terms. The text notes these gradual changes.
Her shoes, her hair getting neater.
Her hands cleaner. And it mentions this happens after her mourning period.
Like she's quietly taking care of herself again, reasserting herself.
That's how I read it. It's not about becoming glamorous. It's about self-respect. Quiet dignity.
And this is happening while Pip's trying to improve himself with books.
Yeah, and there's that moment he looks up and sees her. Really sees her. Her curiously thoughtful and attentive eyes.
It's like a sudden recognition, isn't it, of her intelligence.
Why do you think it hits him right then?
Well, maybe because he's focused on learning, he suddenly notices that quality in someone else. Someone he perhaps overlooked.
Could be. He sees that same thoughtfulness, but she doesn't have his guineas or make a big show of studying. It kind of challenges his assumptions, maybe.
Yeah, and she's not just thoughtful, she's competent, running the household.
Keeping things going, which leads right into Pip starting to notice just how smart Biddy actually is. Maybe even feeling a bit threatened.
Maybe. He sees she learns everything he does, keeps pace with him, but without seeming to try so hard.
And Pip, he's got a bit of vanity about his own learning, right? Funded by those guineas.
He does, but then he has this thought that his knowledge felt extremely dear at the price.
That's interesting. Like he's sensing a hidden cost, an emotional cost.
Maybe. Or a moral one.
Yeah.
And Biddy's comparison of learning to catching a cough.
Yes. Like a cough. Just something she picks up naturally.
It totally deflates Pip's effort, doesn't it? Makes her intelligence seem so effortless, so innate.
It does, and it's not just book smarts. She knows his trade, too.
The tools, the terms. The text says she could probably be as good a blacksmith, maybe better.
Which is a whole different kind of smarts. Practical intelligence. Something Pip seems to be valuing less at this point.
He does acknowledge she makes the most of every chance, sees her improvement. He observes it clearly.
For a moment, anyway. Before he gets distracted again.
And then she reminds him, gently but firmly.
I was your first teacher, though, wasn't I?
Oof. At its home, right? Grounding him in their history. Does he really get how important she was, even back then?
It's hard to say for sure, which kind of leads into that moment where he sees her crying.
Oh, yeah. And she denies it, just brushes it off.
It feels like there's so much unsaid there. Her stoicism, maybe not wanting to burden him.
Especially since he's so wrapped up in his own stuff.
Right. But it triggers something in Pip. He remembers her past.
Her being a drudge, her tough start, and how he relied on her even then.
It's like a light bulb goes on, however dimly. He starts to question himself.
Have I been grateful enough? Should I have told her more?
Yeah, it's a flicker of real awareness. A shift. Maybe temporary, but it's there.
And maybe that's why he suggests the walk. To try and connect again.
Could be. Get out of the house, away from the daily grind. The setting seems important too.
Summer, by the river. It feels open. Potential for real talk.
Unlike Sada's house, right? The total opposite. Openness versus suffocation.
But then, he makes her promise secrecy before he says the big thing.
Yeah, that feels a bit controlling. Or maybe just anxious.
And then he blurts it out.
Yeah.
I want to be a gentleman. Just like that.
So simple, but loaded with everything. Dissatisfaction, longing.
And Biddy's response. So quick, so practical.
Oh, I wouldn't if I was you. I don't think I would answer. Bam.
She just cuts right through it like she sees it won't actually make him happy. Why do you think she says that?
Maybe she understands happiness differently. It's not about status for her, maybe. It's about, well, being decent, being content.
Things that Pip's idea of a gentleman might actually undermine.
Could be, but Pip's not hearing it. He's just full of this disgust for his life.
It all comes back to Miss Havisham's influence, doesn't it? And Estella.
Definitely. Being a gentleman isn't just about money or manners for him. It's tied to her, rejecting the common life she scorned.
And then Biddy tries to gently ask him, are you happy? She actually cares about him.
Which is such a contrast to Pip's self-absorption at this moment.
But he doubles down. He'll never be comfortable unless things change.
And Biddy looks sorrowful. She sees where this is going, perhaps, the cost.
Yeah. And then Pip has this internal battle, this quarrel with myself. He almost regrets wanting more.
That line, I should have been good enough for you, shouldn't I, Biddy? It's heartbreaking.
So much regret packed in there.
And Biddy's reply, yes, I am not over-particular. So understated.
Is she just comforting him? Or gently pointing out he's the one who's become particular?
Maybe a bit of both. She sees his insecurity.
Which he then blames squarely on Estella, being made to feel coarse and common.
It shows how much power he's given her opinion, doesn't it? Letting her define him.
And Biddy just asks plainly, who said it? Making him name the source.
Leading to the big confession. It's all about Estella. He wants to be a gentleman on her account.
Painful honesty there for both of them.
And Biddy, again, asks the killer questions. Do you want to be a gentleman to spite her or to gain her over?
She really pushes him to look at his motives. Does he even know?
He seems uncertain, just moody. He's caught up in the feeling, not the reason.
And Biddy wisely questions if Estella is even worth it. Don't value her opinion so much.
You get the sense Pip knows she's right, on some level.
Intellectually, yeah. But the feeling, the admiration, is too strong.
So strong he wants to, what, bang his head against the stones? He's really torn up.
And Biddy's reaction, just simple comfort, takes his hands.
Yeah, a very human gesture. Grounding him, reminding him of that real connection.
But Pip feels ill-used. like he's a victim of his own feelings.
It's relatable, though, isn't it? When wanting something makes you miserable.
True. And Biddy just reassures him. Glad he told her, she'll keep his secret. Still his confidant.
And that comment about teaching him acknowledges he's moving on, but maybe hints those old lessons still matter.
Then the impulsive kiss. And Pip promises, I shall always tell you everything.
Feels genuine in the moment, maybe.
But Biddy brings him back to earth.
Till you're a gentleman.
Pow. She sees it clearly. She knows what that ambition likely means for them.
Her quiet ah. After he denies it, it's like she accepts it. This is the path he's on.
And then Pip almost gets it. He has this flash of clarity.
Thinks maybe this life with Biddy is more naturally and wholesomely situated.
Right. He even admits Estella would probably make him miserable. Sees the logic.
For a second.
Yeah, just for a second then. Pip, what a fool you are! The pull is too strong.
And ambition, infatuation. They drown out the rational thought.
But Biddy stays constant, kind, grounded.
So much so that Pip actually wishes he could fall in love with her. He sees her goodness.
Acknowledges their history, everything.
And Biddy, again, with the gentle but firm reality check. But you never will, you see.
She just knows. No illusions there. It's quite sad, really.
Very. She understands him, perhaps better than he understands himself right then.
And just as things feel sort of settled in that sadness, bam! Orlick appears.
Yeah, the tone shifts completely. Suddenly feels menacing.
Near the churchyard, too. Adds to the creepiness. And Orlick's greeting. Jiggered. Weird.
Definitely unsettling. And it triggers Pip's old fears of him. This isn't a friendly encounter.
Biddy feels it immediately. Whispers, don't let him. She's scared.
Her fear tells you everything you need to know about Orlick.
And her reason for disliking him. Because I'm afraid he likes me.
Ugh, that's chilling. She feels threatened by his unwanted attention, the way he dances at her.
Horrible. And Pip gets indignant. Protective, almost.
It is interesting, isn't it? He doesn't want her, not like that, but he doesn't want Orlick to want her either.
Possessive.
Feels a bit like it. Like he values her, yes, but maybe also sees her as his. In a way.
And Biddy calls him on it. Gently. It makes no difference to you.
Pushing him to admit his feelings are contradictory, which he sort of doesn't affect him, but he doesn't like it.
And his final word on it? He wouldn't think well of her if she encouraged Orlick. Again, that possessiveness.
Yeah, a bit of entitlement there. And this whole Orlick thing just seems to stir everything up again for Pip.
He tries to watch out for Biddy, but Orlick's kind of embedded in the household now thanks to his sister.
Reminding Pip of how little control he has over his current life, maybe fueling that desire to escape.
Could be. The chapter ends with him stuck in the cycle, right?
Exactly. Moments of clarity, seeing Biddy's worth, the value of his life, then whoosh.
The remembrance of the Havisham days sweeps it all away. Back to confusion.
Still hoping Miss Havisham will make his fortune. Still caught.
Even finishing his apprenticeship wouldn't fix it, the text suggests. The perplexities are internal now.
He's fundamentally conflicted, pulled between two worlds, two versions of himself.
So, coming out of this deep dive, Pip's really struggling. Wrestling with who he is, where he belongs.
And the relationships are spotlights on that struggle, aren't they? The artificiality of Satis House versus the genuine connection with Biddy.
Huge contrast. One pulls him towards ambition and illusion, the other towards, well, something more real, maybe.
It really lays bare that tension, the allure of getting ahead versus the quiet value of contentment of real human bonds. What's the price of ambition?
Which really sets up our final thought for you, the listener. Thinking about Pip right here in this chapter. Imagine the different choices he could make.
What does his struggle tell us about our own lives? Our own desires for something different, something more.
And how do we value the Biddies in our lives versus the Acellas? What truly makes a life fulfilling?
Something to chew on.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.